Welcome to Real Talk Daily, where real conversations about life, relationships, and emotions come alive. Real Talk Daily, real voices, real stories, every single day. Hey everyone, welcome back to Real Talk Daily. Today we're talking about something that almost everyone thinks about at some point in their life, but very few people actually talk about honestly, and that is friendships. More specifically, why it feels like making new friends has become so much harder today compared to the past.
Yes, and I think this is one of those topics where people might not immediately think, this is a big problem in my life. But when you really stop and reflect on it, you realize how many people actually feel a little disconnected or like they don't have enough real friendships in their life.
Exactly. And it's interesting because when we were younger, it didn't feel like this at all. I remember school days, even simple situations like sitting next to someone in class or joining a group during break time, and somehow that was enough for a friendship to start naturally without any planning or thinking.
And that's true. There was something very simple about it. You didn't question things like, will this person like me? Or what should I say? Or what if it's awkward? You just talked. And if the vibe was okay, that was it. Friendships started from very small moments.
But now, as adults, everything feels more complicated. Even meeting new people doesn't happen naturally anymore most of the time. You have to actively put yourself in situations like work environments, social events, or even online communities just to have a chance of meeting someone new.
And even when you do meet new people, it doesn't automatically turn into friendship the way it used to. Because now people are busy, they have routines, responsibilities, and also emotional walls they built over time from past experiences.
That's a good point. I also feel like adults are more cautious in general. When you're younger, you trust easily, but as you grow older, you start to think more about people's intentions, past experiences, and whether it's worth investing your time in someone.
Yes, and that caution is understandable. But at the same time, it also makes things slower. Because even if two people actually get along, there is now this invisible hesitation on both sides, like nobody wants to be the one who tries too hard first.
I've actually experienced something like that recently. I met a few new people through work, and everyone was polite and friendly, but it felt like everyone was waiting for the other person to take the first step in building a real connection outside of work.
That's very common, because work friendships especially can stay at a very surface level for a long time. People talk during work, maybe joke a little, but when it comes to actually meeting outside or building something deeper, it doesn't always move forward.
And I think part of that is also time. People don't really have open time like before. Even if they like someone, they might think, I'm too tired today, or maybe another time. And that another time just keeps repeating until nothing really happens.
And slowly, without realizing it, people end up with fewer and fewer real connections in their daily life, even if they are constantly surrounded by people.
That's actually the strange part. You can be surrounded by people, working with people, talking to people every day, and still feel like you don't have anyone you can really call a close friend.
And I think that feeling is more common than people admit, because from the outside, everything might look normal, but internally, many people feel like something is missing in their social life.
So maybe the real question is not just why making friends is hard, but also why keeping and building real connections has become more difficult over time.
Yes, and I think we should go deeper into that, because it's not just about being shy or introverted. It's also about how modern life is structured.
Exactly. And in the next part, I think we should talk about something really important: fake connections, online friendships, and why some relationships feel real in the beginning but don't last.
Yes, because that's where things get even more interesting.
Stay with us. In the last part, we were talking about how making friends has become harder in modern life, and how even when people are surrounded by others, they can still feel like something is missing socially. But I think there is another side to this conversation that is even more interesting and maybe a little more complicated.
Yes, because it's not just about not having friends. It's also about the type of connections people are having today. For example, some friendships look very real on the surface, but they don't always feel real emotionally.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I feel like nowadays, there are a lot of light connections. People talk, they interact, they maybe even laugh together, but the connection doesn't always go deeper than that.
And I think social media plays a big role in that. Because online, you can have hundreds or even thousands of interactions, But many of those interactions are very short, very fast, and sometimes not very meaningful.
Right. And it creates this strange situation where people feel socially active, but still emotionally disconnected. Like you might be messaging people all day, reacting to stories, commenting on posts, but at the end of the day, you still feel alone.
Yes, and I think that's where the idea of fake friendships comes in. Not fake in a bad or toxic way, but friendships that exist more out of habit or convenience rather than real emotional connection.
That's a good way to put it, because I don't think most people are trying to be fake. It's just that life moves so fast and relationships become very easy to start, but also very easy to maintain at a surface level without going deeper.
Exactly. And sometimes people also don't have the energy to go deeper. After work, after stress, after daily responsibilities, many people just want light interaction, not deep emotional conversations.
That makes sense. But then the question becomes, if everyone is only having light interactions, where do deep friendships actually come from?
I think deep friendships still come from the same place they always did, which is time and consistency. But the difference now is that people have to intentionally choose to go deeper, because it doesn't happen naturally as often.
That's true. I also think another issue is trust. Many people today have experienced situations where they trusted someone, maybe shared personal things, and then later felt disappointed or misunderstood.
Yes, and that creates hesitation. So next time, instead of opening up quickly, people hold back. They stay polite, they stay friendly, but they don't fully open their inner world to someone new.
I've seen that a lot, even in myself sometimes. You meet someone, they seem nice, but you still keep a little emotional distance just in case.
And that emotional distance is not always a bad thing. It can protect people. But if everyone keeps too much distance, then real closeness becomes harder to build.
That's the balance problem, right? Too much openness can lead to hurt, but too much protection can lead to loneliness.
Exactly. And I think modern friendships exist somewhere between those two extremes. And people are still trying to figure out where that balance should be.
There's also something interesting about online friendships specifically, because sometimes people feel very close to someone they've never even met in real life.
Yes, that's true. You can talk to someone online every day, share thoughts, support each other, and feel emotionally connected, even without physical presence.
But at the same time, some of those connections disappear very easily too. If communication stops, or if someone becomes busy, the connection can fade without a clear ending.
That's what makes it a bit unstable sometimes. Because real-life friendships usually have shared environments like school, work, or routines, which naturally keep people in contact.
That's a really good point. So maybe online friendships are easier to start, but harder to maintain long-term without effort.
Yes, and I think that brings us back to the same idea again: effort. No matter where the friendship starts, whether online or in real life, it still needs effort to become something meaningful.
And maybe that's the real challenge today. Not finding people, but choosing to invest time and energy into the right people. I agree. And in the next part, I think we should talk about something even more important: what actually makes a real friendship strong and how people can recognize the difference between a temporary connection and a real one.
Yes, and also how someone can slowly build better friendships without forcing it or overthinking it.
That's going to be a very useful part of the conversation.
Stay with us.
So in the last parts, we talked about how friendships today feel more complicated, how social media affects connections, and how people often experience a mix of real and surface-level relationships. But I think now we should talk about something more positive, which is what actually makes a friendship real and lasting in today's world.
Yes, because even though it feels harder now, that doesn't mean real friendships don't exist anymore. They absolutely do. I just think the way they are built has changed, and people need to understand that difference.
That's true. I think many people today expect friendships to happen quickly. Like you meet someone, you talk a few times, and suddenly you expect a strong connection. But real friendships usually don't work like that.
Exactly. Real friendships take time. They are built slowly through small moments, not big ones. It can be something simple, like talking regularly, sharing small personal experiences, or just being consistent in each other's lives.
And consistency is probably the key word here. Because even if you don't talk every day, if there is consistency over time, the connection slowly becomes stronger.
Yes, and I also think honesty is very important. Not like deep emotional honesty from the beginning, but simple honesty. Being yourself, not pretending, not trying to impress too much, just being natural.
I like that. Because sometimes people feel like they need to perform when they meet new people. Like they need to be funny, interesting, or perfect. But that actually creates pressure instead of connection.
Yes, and real friendship usually starts when people feel comfortable enough to just be normal around each other. Not perfect, just normal.
I also think shared experiences matter a lot. It's hard to build a strong friendship just from talking. But when you do things together, even small things like studying, working, going for a walk, or having coffee, it creates memories.
That's very true. Shared experiences create natural bonding, and those small moments often become the foundation of stronger relationships over time.
But I guess the biggest challenge today is patience. Because everything is fast now. Messages are fast, content is fast, entertainment is fast, so people also expect relationships to be fast.
Yes, but relationships don't really follow that speed. Emotional connection still takes time, no matter how fast the world becomes.
So maybe the real solution is not to change people, but to adjust expectations. To understand that it's okay if friendships take time to grow.
I agree. And I also think people should not give up just because they haven't found close friends quickly. Sometimes the right people come later, not immediately.
That's a good point. And I think many people underestimate how many others are actually feeling the same way. You are not the only person trying to make friends, struggling a little, or feeling disconnected sometimes.
Yes, and that is very important to remember. Because loneliness can make people feel like they are the only ones experiencing it. But in reality, many people are going through the same thing.
So if someone listening feels like it's hard to make friends, or they feel a bit alone, maybe the first step is just to stay open. Not force anything, but stay open to small conversations, small connections, and small opportunities.
And over time, those small moments can become something much bigger than you expect.
I like that idea. Start small, stay consistent, and don't rush it.
Exactly.
Okay, Emma, I think this was a really good conversation today. Because we didn't just talk about why making friends is hard, but also about what real friendship actually means in today's world.
Yes, and I hope people listening can reflect on their own experiences and maybe feel a little less alone in what they are going through.
And of course, this is just the beginning. We will continue talking about real-life topics like this in future episodes.
Yes, and next time we might talk about something like social anxiety or how people can become more confident in social situations.
That's going to be interesting.
Definitely.
Thank you for listening to Real Talk Daily. We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone.